President Biden has arrived in Belfast for a 4-day trip to mark the 25th anniversary of the historic Good Friday Agreement. The landmark deal largely brought to an end the 30-year conflict in Northern Ireland known as the Troubles. President Biden says he looks forward to reiterating America's commitment to preserving the peace. Well, tomorrow he'll deliver a speech at Ulster University before travelling to the Republic of Ireland. There, he'll celebrate his own family's roots, attending events in Louth and Mayo. There'll also be official engagements in Dublin. He'll then leave for America on Friday. Well, our Ireland correspondent Emma Vardy is in Belfast, where Air Force One touched down a short time ago. Emma.
Well, Joe Biden is due to arrive at his hotel here behind me in Belfast city centre at any minute now. He's only spending one night in Belfast, though. Some think he might have spent a bit more time here if it hadn't been for the current political instability and Northern Ireland's devolved government currently collapsed. But we know the president is keen to show his commitment to this place and its unique challenges. Air Force One arrives at Belfast International, and Northern Ireland's first presidential visit in 10 years is underway. Time for a short hello with Rishi Sunak on the tarmac before the president was whisked away for the night. A ring of steel is in place in Belfast city centre, in what is one of the biggest security operations here of recent years.
We've been planning for this for a number of weeks. We've prepared for all the various contingencies. Our style and tone that we'll be delivering around this policing operation will remain a community-focused style policing.
Presidential visits of the past have held great significance for Northern Ireland's peace process.
You must say to those who still would use violence for political objectives, you are the past.
In 1995, not long after a ceasefire had been declared by the Republican armed paramilitaries, the IRA, Bill Clinton crossed Belfast's peace line to visit the divided Republican and Loyalist communities. And on Belfast's Falls Road came a historic moment.
The first public handshake between a US president and the leader of what many still believe to be the political wing of the IRA.
Bill Clinton's visit helped pave the way for Sinn Féin to join peace talks. There was some political pressure, wasn't there, for him not to come here. What did that handshake achieve for you?
Well, it was a very clear symbolic indication to this community, which had suffered grievously, that the President of the USA was recognising them, and other communities as well, of course. But this stretch of the road, like, you only walk the length of yourself. Somebody died here, you know, whether at the hands of British soldiers, of the RUC or the IRA or the Loyalists. And it was to have a moment of unquestionable symbolism.
There's long been a strong connection with Ireland for millions of Americans with Irish ancestry.
And there is President Kennedy.
When John F. Kennedy visited Ireland, he described it as the best 4 days of his life. And Joe Biden has often spoken of his family's Irish roots. But in Washington earlier, said his focus in Belfast would be the peace process and the UK's recent new agreement on Brexit.
What's your top priority on this trip, sir?
Make sure the Irish Accords and the Windsor Agreement stay in place. Keep the peace. That's the main thing.
And there's now a little less need for those glasses, as POTUS will be waking up tomorrow in a rather less sun-kissed Belfast. In the morning, Joe Biden will have a short meeting with Rishi Sunak before heading to an event at Ulster University with the Northern Ireland political parties. And the question will be, what will he say to them, given that power sharing here has been broken down for over a year? An invitation for the president to visit Stormont was not taken up. The optics here deemed less suitable, with the devolved government suspended because of disagreements over the Brexit arrangements. For this city, it will be a more brief affair than the presidential visits of the past, but still a mark of Northern Ireland's continuing importance to America in its post-conflict journey. Emma Vardy, BBC News, Belfast.
Well, President Biden is due to meet representatives of the main political parties in Northern Ireland tomorrow. The devolved government there was suspended more than a year ago after the DUP withdrew its support in protest at post-Brexit trading arrangements. Well, our political editor Chris Mason is in Belfast. Chris, it's a short trip for Joe Biden to Northern Ireland, but just sum up its potential significance.
Yeah, evening to you, Clive. This visit has been penciled into the diaries of diplomats on both sides of the Atlantic for the best part of a year now, such is the significance of this anniversary, 25 years on from the signing of the Good Friday Agreement. And here we are this evening with the visit underway. We can show you some additional pictures of the President getting off Air Force One in the last half an hour or so, shaking hands with Rishi Sunak, who was there on the tarmac to greet him in the wind and occasional little blast of rain here in Northern Ireland this evening. They'll have a meeting face-to-face in the morning ahead of the President's speech that Emma was referring to there. But as you say, the visit to Northern Ireland by the President, as opposed to the wider trip to the Republic, is actually pretty short. For all of the diplomatic conversations over the last year about this moment, he'll be here for around about 15 hours, around half of which he'll be in bed. And I think the political impasse here locally has played into that. There can't be some grand moment of smiles, the restoration of power-sharing devolved government here in Northern Ireland, because that restoration has not yet happened. Now, the New Deal, as far as Brexit and Northern Ireland is concerned, what's known as the Windsor Framework, I think has made this trip easier to nail down and ensure that it is happening. But the absence of the restoration of devolution has probably meant a smaller scale series of events than we might have otherwise seen. By tomorrow afternoon, the President will be on his way to the Republic, the Prime Minister will be on his way back to London. Rishi Sunak will be back here, though, next week for further commemorations.